All right, welcome to the Explainer. So, what if I told you that you could potentially clean up your entire credit report in just 2 weeks and do it all online? Today, we are digging into a really powerful method that claims to do exactly that.
Okay, let's just start with that quote because, wow, that is a bold promise, right? It really sets the stage for a pretty unique strategy, one you can do completely online, right from your own home, without mailing a single letter.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to totally reframe how you think about the credit system. Then, we'll dive into this key legal loophole and the secret weapons you have to enforce it. After that, I'm going to walk you through step-by-step the 14-day plan, and finally, we'll talk about what happens after you hit that submit button. You know, for so many of us, it feels like the credit system is this big, complicated game, and nobody ever gave us the rule book. Well, what if you finally got your hands on that rule book? That's exactly what we're doing today.
And this is really the crucial point right here. The very first step is just shifting your mindset. You're no longer just a player trying to guess the rules. You're about to understand the system from the inside out and take back control.
Okay, so now let's get to the real heart of this strategy. It all comes down to a really important consumer protection law. And, believe it or not, one single, super powerful word. And at foundation, it's the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or the FCRA. This is the federal law that gives you, the consumer, a whole set of specific rights when it comes to your personal data. So, yeah, the law says you have the right to dispute stuff. But here's the thing, it's how you dispute it that changes everything. There is one specific claim that is the key to getting incredibly fast results. And there it is. That's the word, inaccurate. You see, the credit bureaus, we're talking Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, they have a legal duty to make sure everything they report has maximum possible accuracy. And anytime they fail to do that, well, that's your opening. Okay, and this is where the strategy gets really, really powerful. Just look at this example. Experian says an account opened on December 1st, but TransUnion says it was December 3rd. Now, how can both of those be right? The answer is, they can't. And if the bureaus can't even agree on a simple fact like a date, they have absolutely failed their legal requirement for accuracy. So finding just one little inaccuracy like that, that's step one. Now let's talk about the 3 specific laws right out of the FCRA that give you the power to actually force them to delete it. All right, think of these 3 laws as your legal toolkit, your secret weapons. These aren't just, some helpful suggestions. These are federal statutes that you can point to back up your entire claim. This first one, this is your golden ticket, seriously. It requires bureaus to have procedures that assure maximum possible accuracy. So those different dates we just saw on the last slide, that is a textbook direct violation of this law. Okay, law number 2. This one actually puts the responsibility on the company that reported the data in the first place, what they call the furnisher. That could be the original creditor or maybe a collection agency. The law says they are flat out prohibited from reporting anything they know or even have a reason to believe is inaccurate. And then there's this one, which is basically the final nail in the coffin. If an item is found to be inaccurate, or even if they just can't verify it 100%, the law is absolutely crystal clear. The agency shall promptly delete it. Not maybe, not when they get around to it, promptly. Now, why does this all matter? Well, sometimes people worry about removing an old account, thinking it might hurt their credit age. But look at the numbers. Your payment history is a whopping 35% of your score, while the age of your credit is only 15%. So for an old account that has late payments, getting rid of that negative history is almost always a huge net positive for your score. Okay, you've got the theory, you've got the laws. Now for the fun part, let's get into the actual step-by-step playbook for putting all this into action. And we're going to use the government's own system to do it, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or the CFPB. So here it is, the whole plan in 5 simple steps. And according to the source material, doing this precisely is the key. You're going to go to the CFPB website, pick the right categories, draft a complaint that specifically cites the laws we just talked about, tell them exactly what you want, which is a deletion, and then, and this is super important, you file 3 separate complaints, one for Experian, one for TransUnion, and one for Equifax. And when you write that complaint, you want to start with language just like this, something direct and formal. See, this isn't some polite little email asking for help. This is a formal notice that you believe your federally protected consumer rights have been violated. It immediately puts them on notice that you know the law. All right, so you've clicked submit on all 3 complaints. Now what? Let's get into the final phase and see what actually happens next and why this whole method is so darn effective. The second you hit submit, a clock starts ticking, a 14-day clock. The bureaus are now legally on the hook. They have to investigate and give you a formal response to your complaint, and they have to do it through the government's own CFPB portal. I really want you to understand what you've just done here. This is not just another dispute letter that they can toss in a pile and ignore. Nope. This is a formal complaint filed through a federal regulator that creates an official paper trail and absolutely demands a response. You've basically stopped asking them and started instructing them, all by using the government's own system against them. So, as we wrap this up, remember, the real goal here isn't just about getting a higher number on a screen. It's about taking back control of your financial life. So the ultimate question this strategy really leaves us with is, once you've reclaimed that financial freedom, what are you going to build with it? What's your next move?